All right, I think we've got everything back here. Let's see. Yay, yes we do. Sorry about all of that. Okay. So our boy Kyle is back. Well, let me share this with everybody since we lost everything and the whole crew. Let's try to get them all back. So, 2 seconds. Okay. So, I'll get back to the chat. Okay. Hey, look, here come the numbers back too. Appreciate that. Who were the Pens looking to acquire in the Mata trade? Is that player still available? I don't know. We really don't know anything more than the LA Kings came after Mata. The Penguins were almost ready to do it, but we don't know the full particulars of that. Obviously, if the trade might happen again, everyone gets a little bit more tight-lipped. Everybody doesn't, no one wants to ruin the trade. And players don't want to hear their name out there, too. And don't forget the human element of that. So general managers and our sources who, our little moles in the front office also have to be cognizant of that as well. Where if a player's name gets out there and the deal doesn't happen, his value goes down. There's a lot of card playing that goes on here. No, Alec Martinez is going to stay in LA. He's not untouchable, but Martinez is staying because they're going to buy out Phaneuf, or they're going to beg and borrow and try to move him. It might cost them a pretty good draft pick or player, but Alec Martinez is staying in Los Angeles. Brian says, I'd rather trade Mata and Kessel to get first-rounders this year and back-end help. You're not getting a first-rounder for Phil Kessel. You're just not. Maybe outside chance at a late first-rounder. You're getting a second-rounder and a player. Probably not a high-end player. Probably a 20-goal scorer, maybe, for Phil Kessel. His age, his coachability, his reputation all work against him. Don't forget, as much as you love Phil Kessel, when he was available back in 2015, the summer of, when they got him on July 1st, the Penguins were able to get him for the price they got him, which was less than Toronto was asking because so many teams backed out. One by one, the suitors who were interested in Phil Kessel, and there weren't many, there were 5 or 6, as I recall, just kept backing out and backing out. So when Rutherford kind of held firm, Kasperi Kapanen took 4 years to get to where he is now. And nothing else in that deal has really panned out for Toronto. So they got, essentially, for Toronto, is Kapanen for Kessel. I think the Penguins would be lucky to get a Kapanen for Kessel deal now. No question about that. Let me go back to the trades here. Sully said the words, play our game, and it reminded me of Bilesma's get to our game mantra. No adjustments, blown leads. Do you think Sully is losing the room? Aaron, I hit this at the top of the show since we got a new stream and everything, people coming back to catch us here. Let me redo the Sullivan talk. Sullivan didn't lose the room. Sullivan maybe didn't connect with a couple players. The big difference with that is the players Sullivan didn't connect with are over 30 years old. If these were 24, 25-year-old superstars and the coach loses that guy, well, the coach goes. When they're in Phil Kessel's shoes, and I think it's fairly obvious, and I needled Sullivan a little bit in February when he kept saying about buy-in. I said, okay, well, if I think Letang said we need guys with more buy-in as well, and that gave me all the ammunition I needed. I went right at Sullivan a little bit, and I don't do this often. I said, okay, you've said buy-in. Now Letang says we need buy-in. That, by definition, means there are players not buying in. What do you think about that? And we as a media are not hard on coaches in this town. We just aren't. We're not hard on players. We're not hard on coaches. If this were New York, it would have been a feeding frenzy. And I know I kind of made Sullivan wince when I threw the fastball. And he gave me, I'm not going to point fingers. Then he found his footing and went into, the more coach speak and gave the answer he wanted to give. The answer is clear, though. The Kessel hadn't bought in and didn't buy in. If you remove Kessel from the equation, really the other problem this season was Evgeny Malkin. And as we've seen, Malkin, his game is so much molded by the people around him, far more than it is anybody other player. Malkin can be molded. When he was between Hagelin and Hornquist, Evgeny Malkin played a much more north-south game. It almost carried him to a Hart Trophy and a scoring title last year. This year with Phil Kessel, it was a clown car. They were clown shoes so often. So when you remove one, I think by proxy, Malkin is actually going to improve. I stand behind that. Remove Kessel, Malkin improves, and Malkin's game is going to improve. It's going to gravitate more towards what the Penguins want. And then that's really that Kessel-Malkin combo is probably the biggest buy-in question. I wonder about Letang a little bit because he certainly likes to play his freelance game, but he's so good that I think the Penguins have long had a policy of, okay, Letang can do this, the rest of you do that. I don't know, however. Let me tweet this out here to the other folks as well. Make sure everything's spelled right, too. So unfortunately, something not at RedBeard, something on our end went a little crazy. We are live at RedBeards on 6th Avenue downtown. Today's Wednesday. All you can eat wings, $12.99. I have a plate of boneless wings, which I'm dying to get to here. So we're not going to do too much beyond an hour today. I'm going to eat. Back to the chat board here. No, I'm not going to run another chat later on tonight. This one, I'd trade Kessel to the Devils for their first overall pick. Absolutely, Kyle. And once you get the first overall pick for Phil Kessel, maybe you'll trade Olli Maatta to Edmonton for McDavid? Maybe? Mutation asks, what was our biggest issue? Commitment, Lehner, their style, just being counter. The biggest issue was the Penguins abandoning what they did so well from February 23rd through the end of the regular season. The biggest issue was the Penguins getting healthy, getting their full roster back, and forgetting what got them. Sullivan didn't have an answer for it last night. He really didn't. Well, at least the one that he was going to share publicly. He didn't have an answer for it. I think the Penguins are going to have to subtract some pieces that drive their style of play to the gutter, and add players who amplify, who push them into that gritty, simple play. They should have beaten the Islanders. There just isn't any question. Had they played good hockey without the cavalcade of mistakes, they would have beaten New York. Lehner wasn't that good. Goalies make first saves. Every goalie in the NHL should make the first save. It's those second chances. It's that sustained pressure. But the Islanders almost invariably put